Welcome everyone to an In Conversation With. My name is Emma Smith. I'm the project manager with Empowered Conversations, and that's a project of Age UK Salford. And I'm really excited today to be in conversation with Kitty Short. Kitty, thank you so much for giving your time today.
Thank you, Emma. It's lovely to be here. I know we have an amazing time today. It's very interesting and intriguing.
Talking about your own work. It's very interesting.
No, yours, Emma. Yours.
All right. Fair enough. I'm going to give you the plan for today is I'll give you a little bit of an introduction on Empowered and the work that we do. I'll hand over to Kitty for the presentation, and then we'll make sure there's plenty of time at the end for questions. And I think Kitty actually stops us halfway through for some questions as well.
Yeah.
So the way that you ask questions is through your chat. So you've done it already, Anna, with the unicorn. So that's where you drop your questions in, and then I will pick them up and then share them. So as I said, we're from Empowered Conversations. We empower families affected by dementia to live as well as they can with dementia. And we do that by delivering communication courses. So we have Empowered Conversations and Moving Beyond Words. We also deliver one-to-one dementia-focused therapeutic support through Empowered Carers. We have monthly groups, so we have a bereavement group for caregivers, and we also have a carers voice group. And then every so often we do these fantastic webinars with people with lived experience, researchers and practitioners who come on to share experience or their work to nudge all of our behaviour on and our thinking on, really. So that's what today's about. So I think that's all I need to say, Kitty. So I'm going to start up the presentation and I'm going to hand over to you if that's okay.
Thank you.
Brilliant. So I've got your first slide on.
Okay, brilliant. So welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us today. So this today is all about brick-based brains, and I think I might have actually changed the name if I'd have thought about it, because it is quite a mouthful, a bit of a BBB. So as you can see, there's lots of colour, and the idea that there's got turquoises and yellows is that it's bringing colour to people's life. So it's bringing people with dementia, getting a little bit of colour and a bit of excitement to their lives. So first of all, my name is Kitty Short, and I am working for a community interest company, which I set up and founded in 2018, and that is called Creative Confidence. So Creative Confidence is all about really bringing people's creative side out and building the confidence. So it does exactly what it says on the tin. So not only is it about performance poetry, game show hosting, it might be rapping, sing and sign. So it's using lots of different elements of performance, but bringing it to the masses of people in the community. And it was brick-based brains where we thought, right, this is one of our strands, which I thought what we really want to get out into the community. So how it started was that, and brick-based brains started when I was working in primary schools and started a little bit of work in secondary schools, and I was doing lots of Lego therapy, and we did this with children who were autistic, who were on the spectrum. We used it with children who had English as additional language, and I felt like it was time for me to move on in more of the mental health sector and also working with the elderly. And that's when I thought, right, how do we use all the skills that I've used in primary schools and bring that to residential homes? So I wanted to use something like brick-based brains, which uses bricks as a tool to create social connections between the elderly and help them feel empowered and excited and engaged, and give them some autonomy back. So they're not just sat there in the chair to be entertained, but they are being interactive and they're getting excited and engaged by these small amount of bricks, which are pretty much magical. So it started with a sheep, believe it or not, which sounds really strange. And I took it upon myself to go to a Morrison's cafe. And at the back, they had a weekly group setting where people would come and just have a cup of tea and a chat. And they didn't really deliver activities. It was just more of a free-for-all. And I came along with my box of bricks and dead excited, like, oh, I hope they're all going to play with me. And then a few people was like, no, it's not for me, not really my type of thing. And then this lady that you can see there, gorgeous lady, she said, I'll play with you. And I thought, oh, it felt like that time when you're in the schoolyard and it's like, thank goodness somebody said, yeah, come on, you'll play with me. And so we made a sheep, which you can see. Now, this sheep actually took 45 minutes to make. And there's probably, maybe 12 pieces. And it was like, that was when it was like the light bulb moment went off. And I thought, this works. We can do this. But we need to try it in different ways, not with one person, but with 3 people. And using 3 people, so we have like an engineer and a supplier and then a builder, so 3 people working together as a team. So if we go to the next slide, this is where I taught myself. So I went on a journey because people said you need to go to residential homes, and that's when I discovered the whole amazing, beautiful world of dementia, because I didn't know much about it before, and I just thought it was elderly people in homes that have heard of dementia, but this is when it really struck home. So the 3 ladies that you see on the left, bless Margaret, who is she was a feisty Scottish character, and we have Dolly, who was just dead excitable, used to dance around all the time. The other lady couldn't be on the photograph, but when I spoke to Raquel, who was a activities coordinator, she really welcomed me with open arms, and it was voluntary, it wasn't a paid service, and she said, just come in, let's see how we go. We tried many people, different groups and different settings, and then we got those 3 ladies together, and she was like grimacing, was Raquel, and I said, what's the matter? And she said, they really hate each other. And I went, what do you mean? She went, they growl. And I would see them, and Margaret would go, and looking at each other like that. I thought, oh my goodness me, it's like World War III is going to erupt. There's going to be a fight. Anyway, after probably maybe 3 attempts, they started to warm to each other, and they started to socially connect. And we discovered that through play and exploring each other's paths and present what they're in now, their husbands were engineers, so they found that common connection, which was fantastic. And that's when we really started to make this work, and we built on what they were doing. And then every week we would take pictures and we put it on Facebook, and we promote it through then. And we started to gather a little bit of interest. Now, the gentleman you see in the middle, good old Lawrence, he absolutely loved to make houses. He was in a different home, and it was pictured Lawrence in the middle because he'd really pinnacle, because whilst promoting on Facebook, I got a phone call from a lady called Sarah Chadwick, and she said, you know, your husband's a friend of my husband. I'm like, okay. And I work in a residential home. And I didn't realise I probably saw her every other week at football at Manchester City, by the way. And then I was like, oh, right. So she said, do you want to come and join us and deliver some of your brick-based therapy? I'm like, of course, I'd love to. And so she went, how much do you charge? And I went, what do you mean? She went, how much is it? I'm like, oh, I don't know, because I've been doing it voluntary. And I thought, can I actually make money from this? Are people willing to pay for a service like this? And that's when we really started the ball rolling. And then other people, the other 2 ladies, you can see, they would only work in a 2. They were very protective of their Lego pieces and only wanted to work together. So that was in a different home. But then the pioneer of the story of Brick-Based Brains is this gentleman called John Potts. And he was our Lego legend. So John already had a vested interest in Lego himself, and he was interested in stealth bombers and planes and ships and anything that would carry something of significance. So John was is highly intelligent, and he would talk about the stars and the moon, and he was into his astronomy. And so John really took to this. And when I would go on a weekly basis, he would always say, "When's Kitty coming back? Oh, I want to show her what I've made." So even when I left the building, he'd not forgotten. And John was diagnosed 15 years ago with schizophrenia and also dementia. So from John, that made it exciting. And because we knew it worked, John almost became our Lego Legends / brick-based brains guinea pig. So we started to write to Lego. So we got in touch with Lego. We got some sort of feedback sometimes, and we wanted the bricks because we had Duplo bricks and we had the smaller pieces like the classic box, and we found we wanted something in between, but unfortunately that didn't work. So we had to just keep going, but we started to gain traction, and somehow people heard about this, and they heard about John Potts, and people would say, "Where's John Potts? Have you posted this week? I'm not seeing your Lego Legend. Where is he? What's going on?" And so no idea where it came from, but the BBC Northwest got hold of a story. And so if Emma's going to press play.
Yeah, I'm just bringing it up now.
Lego is being credited with reviving memories in elderly residents after being used to help people rediscover communication skills and encourage them to socialise in care homes, as Kevin Fitzpatrick reports.
Building blocks and friendships as they go. After seeing Lego therapy work with children, Kitty Shaw thought it could help older people as well.
You love me coming, don't you, John?
Yeah.
For some residents at this care home in Manchester, playing Lego has now become a regular activity, and it's a team effort.
We've got to say the colour, the shape, the size, how many nodules it's got. Then Lawrence, who's got to use his eagle eyes to try and find whatever piece it is, pass it to Mary, and then John would give Mary the instructions to build. So it is quite technical, but it's amazing. It's brilliant for communication skills, and they're interacting, they're engaged.
This group now meets twice a week.
Keeps the mind busy and healthy.
And what do you prefer doing? Do you like the building or do you like the finding the pieces?
So, like finding the pieces. It works. So we get things built, and I don't know. I really would like to build like a stepmother.
So there may be big projects ahead. The management at this care home has seen a positive change in people.
Lawrence, on quite a few of the sessions that he's been on, he's actually come out and said, "I've really enjoyed that," and it's got my cogs going, and he's actually made that comment, and John's made that comment several times as well. Mary just loves joining in with group activities.
Kitty now runs Lego therapy at other care homes as well, and hopes it's a trend that catches on.
It's good with memory loss and just keeps them engaged and focused on something, even for that hour. And usually, they're like, people say it's like a bit of a reawakening of the senses, rather than just being sat there and not doing something.
Kevin Fitzpatrick, BBC Northwest Today, Manchester. Today, Manchester.
Kitty, I feel like we've lost you. If you start your camera and your mic again, that should bring you back on to the presentation. The volume wasn't great on that video. There she is. Brilliant. Are you back with us, Kitty?
I'm hoping so.
We haven't got your video on, but don't worry. It might just be start your presentation up again anyway. So I am at the questions point. So we've just watched the Northwest newsreel. Now we're just at any questions. So if anyone's got any questions, if you drop them in the chat, that would be great, and Kitty can bring them up. Any questions so far? Oh, someone's typing.
Oh.
How long ago was that, Kitty? With
Do you know that was 2018.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
in those days.
It's quite a lot. I look a lot younger then, don't I?
You look exactly the same, mate.
Yeah. Oh, well, take that.
Yeah, you're rocking it. Rick said, I found my old Lego models. I used to teach STM subjects to all categories of pupils. That's what. So Rick's big Lego man has been using them in his own teaching. So that's good to know.
Yeah. I just wonder how long have he been teaching to the students?
I'll let him type that in. Anybody else got any questions for what you've seen so far? If not, we'll make a start on the next bit, I think, Kitty. Do you?
Yeah, no problem. Let me get mine.
So we're on number 10 now, how it works.
Number 10. So from watching the video, just wanted to explain a little bit more about how it works. So within the brick-based brains, we have an instructor, a searcher, and a builder. So the instructor, which is John, who you saw in the video, he's the one who reads the instructions from the Lego box, which will be something like the big yellow box that we use. And he gives a description of each brick, piece by piece, and where to place it. So it's really about using your colours, your shapes, your sizes, knowing about your placement, whether it's under, it's over, it's next to. And then he's then explaining that to the searcher, who will find the brick piece and pass it on to the person who's going to build the thing. So then the builder is obviously going to listen to the instructor, and he's going to put the bricks together and make sure in the correct place. So really the instructor's got a really important job because he's covering most angles. And I did find that from doing this, John loved to be an instructor because he probably he was an engineer in his past life, and he is very particular. So he's quite, bossy. He knows exactly what he wants, and he wants it right. So he would tell people if it was wrong. So obviously there you see is 3. And that's initially how it starts, but it doesn't always work like that. Because if we move to this Trailblazers slide, after visiting Sarah's home, which I mentioned, and we got lots of work in Wigan where we were covering like 2 days, we found that everybody wanted to join in. And you can't say no, because it's about being all inclusive and, creating this brick-based brains community. So the 4 ladies there, they like to work together. And the ladies right at the front in the wheelchair, her and the other lady, they often like to work as a team. So it's about being adaptable and making it work. Then the other slides you see, there's people who are in a residential home, and they have the parents with them. Sorry, the daughters with them. Sorry, daughters. Yeah, I was putting some age on them there. The daughters with them, and also the wives or husbands with them. So it was really important that family got involved and that they're working together as a team. And then, as you see, on the other part, we have the community. So we worked a lot in different places like Help the Aged, Age UK, where we worked in community-based centres, and we would make it intergenerational. So people's nephews, nieces, grandchildren would come along and join in. And it just made it really family orientated, and it just made it that much more fun. So as I said, obviously we started at 3, but then sometimes if we go to the next slide, we'd see people would almost fight to get their place on the Lego table. And these lovely ladies insisted it was my turn, it's my seat. So we had to involve them all, work in 2s, or we worked as a large group, and then we get staff involved, which was brilliant. And the 2 ladies on the bottom, and they made the most amazing social connection between themselves, because we found that they didn't always talk when they were in the home, but when they came together with the Lego bricks, they really started to chat, and they talked about the past and how it made them feel. Oh, I remember, yes, and this part is a farm, and we worked on the farm. And then it really just reignited and regenerated the memories. And then if we look at the next one, we have what I would call a bit of an awakening of that my senses is only a couple of months ago, I was invited by Help the Aged to a group, which was over in Wigan. And they said, would you like to come along and, show us exactly what you do? I said, yeah, it's brilliant. So we'll just use, 3 people and 3 of the gentlemen who've all got dementia. I'm like, right, that's brilliant. And they arrived and there was 12 men waiting there to greet me around a table. And I was like, oh my goodness me, what do I do here? How do I cope with this? So it was a little bit flabbergasting, but I almost like that, the fact that you've got to think on your feet and think, right, how are we going to make this work? And so what we did to make it fun and exciting, we would look at the colours and hold the colours up. So it might be, right, okay, we've got green. What memory or what song does it immediately spring to mind? And then we'd have Bob at the back going, green, green grass of home. And then we'd have yellow and it'd be yellow brick road, follow the yellow brick road. So everybody started laughing. It's creating a lovely little brick-based community and it was fantastic. And then they worked together in teams of 2 or 3 and create their own model. And they would give their own instructions and they would say where they want it placed. So it doesn't have to be so, enclosed. It's about opening your mind and keeping it fresh and exciting. The other slide you can see is the ladies had invited me to a birthday party and I was asked to bring along some Lego bricks. And if you see them there, they were enthralled by it. And they didn't actually want to eat cake. They was like, no, it's fine. Can we just keep using the bricks? And it almost had to fight to get the bricks back. But they were wonderful. And they're from the community of Moston, where it's really diverse. And that's what we were trying to reach, as many people as possible, to keep it as diverse as possible and keep everybody engaged, which they were that day. So why do I love doing Brick-Based Brains? Why did I start it? I just think it's amazing. I can't believe that this hasn't been used for so many years, that it was, for people with dementia. I didn't realize that it was, I just thought it was quite normal. But I, created this manual and I've really honed in on how to make it work. I'm not a researcher. I'm not a doctor. I haven't got PhDs. But I know that this concept works because I've got lived experience with those people from many different communities with many neurodiverse conditions. So I know it works. I've been doing it for like 6.5 years. And the magic that creates and the social connection is just amazing. So the people it can benefit is not only people who live in the residential homes and the participants in the community. It makes them feel, empowered. It makes them feel fantastic. But it's also the families. If you have got somebody, one of your loved one who is in a residential home or in a community centre, you want to know that they are being engaged and that they're being interactive and that they are being entertained and that they've got something to do which floats the boat, which makes them feel good and empowered. And also the caring professionals, we're working together as a team. It's a full circle. The more that we work together and produce something like Brick-Based Brains, and we can work together, we're making it easier for everybody. Everybody's much happier. And obviously the care homes set in the residential homes, if they're QCC standards, it's going to up their standards and give them a better rating. That's what happened when I worked at a home, Millennium Care in Wigan, and their QC standards were like excellent and outstanding because of their using more engaging activities. And also the community. When we bring the community and create a community, we had something called Brick-Based Brains Buddies. Now that is a mouthful. And this was bringing children from local homes, not homes, from local schools, and these children that they had were mainly autistic, and they joined forces with the people in the residential homes, and then they buddied up and they created this bond, and it was so lovely to see this intergenerational activity. It was just fantastic. And it is rewarding because it's about allowing people to have those light bulb moments and to know that they're back in the room and remember who they are and they're human beings and where they came from. And that's why we creating something that is, person-centered, because it's about them and what they can do, not what they can't, but what they can do. So if we look at how does it benefit them? Like we said, it's person-centered. It's about finding about what's the past, what did they do for a job, what activities do they love to do, what hobbies, and we make it inclusive. So if you've seen the slides before, you can tell from whether it's 12 people sat around a table or 6 or 3, we adapt and we make it inclusive. It's about providing that safe space for people to feel free to communicate, and it's stimulating the brain, and it's improving the social skills and making them bond and creating those friendships. And not only that, it's about developing the hands or eye coordination, because they're really thinking about where something's placed, where it's got to go, and where it's to move next to. Where is it? Can we find it? Where these eyes are taking the hands, and improving the cognitive ability. And as we said in the video before, it's about, bringing the cogs are going, the back in circular motion. I can honestly say as well, I never have I delivered an activity and somebody has said, well, that were boring or that were rubbish. Most, if not 99%, feel good. And that's what we're here to bring, the joy and bring that playfulness back and make them feel empowered and, make a positive effect on people's mental health and well-being. And it's about giving them an experience and empowering and entertaining. And I think there's nothing more important than somebody giving their own testimonial. So I'd just like to show you Eunice. So this is a slide of Eunice, who is 92 years young. And she actually said she'd never, ever played with Lego before. So I just want to see what you think of Eunice.
Oh, look at that lovely flower. Lilac, yellows, beautiful. I could take that to bed with me.
Right. Well, I'll make some more then, shall we?
John? I'd be okay with that. I'd be okay.
Make some more.
Would you think it'd be good?
Yeah,
I like that.
make a dozen.
I like that.
Right.
Eunice?
So do you think we've done very well there?
Didn't take long, did it? We're good.
They are.
Good therapeutic.
Eunice?
That's so pretty.
Eunice? 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 Eunice?
Oh.
You know when you were making that, what was it difficult? How was it? How did it make you feel?
I'm very clever. I'm very clever. I am. That's lovely. That's pretty. It's so pretty. I would like that. I would like to keep that one.
Fun.
The all-important question was, did you let Eunice keep that flower, Kitty?
Do you know what? I didn't. Is that really cruel of me?
Yeah, it is.
But I would be flowerless then.
Well, I know, but she loved it so much.
She did love it so much. She really did.
Kitty, your camera's still not on, but don't worry. We're on to slide 17 now.
Okay, brilliant. Okay. So, the brick-based training, because this is what it's all about. So we started doing brick-based brains training because at the beginning of what this journey from 2018, there was only little old me, and there's only so many homes that I can go into, and there's only so many community centres, and obviously because it got really busy, I thought, right, what I really need to do is to train other people how to do it and how to use it. So we started this about 2 years ago, and we did it online, and then we actually got funding last year from an If Only fund, and that was a fund which helped us with the creative confidence on how to deliver something which we could fund, which didn't quite fit into boxes of funding and categories, and so it was that's why it's called the If Only Fund. So this allowed us to reach different people, and it was so on the training program were people from the Alzheimer's Society, Help the Aged, and also people from different residential care homes. And so as you can see from the pictures and the people that are working with me, and we've got Yvonne, we've got Sasha, so they work with me on marketing and also on running different projects. And Brick-based brains, the training really looks into all the stumbling blocks that we encounter with people who have dementia and how they feel and how it's different from working with, people with autism or EAL. So it was looking at people who are visually impaired and how do we still make them feel included in a session like this, and also people who were hard of hearing, people who were non-verbal. So that's where we brought Makaton into it. So for those who aren't aware of Makaton is a communication program that uses signs, speech, and symbols to communicate. So we would, within the training, we also teach Makaton about the colours and the shapes and the sizes and where to the placement. So those the people who are on our course, and the takeaways. What I wanted to show you is that brick-based brains just doesn't teach you and just doesn't deliver a training program. It gives you a toolkit which you can take away, which includes many things which make your session really successful. And it doesn't stop there, because we want to create a brick-based brains community which makes you feel more involved. And I'm sure that we haven't stopped. This is not where it stays, but it's where we're on a launch pad where if you're taking these kits away and you use them in your various settings, you might come across stumbling blocks and say, well, this doesn't work. How do we solve this? There's always a solution to the problem. And that's where we are. We're always on the other end of the phone or the line. And, we're always going to help you. So if we move to the final slide, this is a testimonial from Sarah. And I wanted to use Sarah. I could have used other testimonials, but because she's always been on this journey from the very beginning, I want to see how it's developed from 6.5 years ago. And then there's Rachel, who was also on the training course. And just so you can have a look and see what they said.
Kitty's been coming to Allendale for approximately 6 years, delivering brick-based therapy to all our residents here at Allendale. We've been fortunate enough for Kitty to train quite a number of members of our staff, one of them being Rachel, who delivers our training now on a weekly basis to our residents for the brick-based therapy.
We've noticed it's been a complete success. It improves the cognitive ability, the social interactions and connections between the residents, because we have different people sat down, so different friendships are forming, the communication between them. We've noticed that it improves the communication skills, the dexterity, the eye-to-hand coordination, even the memory, because the talking, the discussing. We like it because it's definitely a person-centred initiative. It focuses on the needs of the individual and how to support them in reaching their full potential. They get to choose which project we build, like one of the most recent ones was a little flower, so that appealed to the ladies. But yeah, so up to now it's been fantastic and we hope to keep going forward with it.
I can't help but notice that was Eunice's flower there, Kitty.
Sorry, say that. It was Eunice's flower.
It was Eunice's flower that she didn't get to take away.
I know I'm feeling a tad guilty now, so I think I might need to go and visit Eunice again and give her the flower.
I think so. Right, this is your opportunity to ask Kitty questions. Kitty, we still haven't got you on the screen. I don't know what's gone on with your camera.
No, I'm not sure either. I do apologise.
Don't worry, we can hear you loud and clear, and that's all that matters.
Thank you.
Okay, so if you have any questions, pop them into the chat now and we'll pick them up. I've got some questions. So you've got an instructor, a searcher, and a builder.
Yep.
How do you allocate those roles?
There's sometimes there could actually be a fight over it, Emma, who gets what role. But we usually find that depending on their ability, like level of dementia, probably the person who's more verbal, and they probably get the role of an instructor. And then from then on, it's just you just know who's going to get what role. But what we do try and do is give everybody a fair turn, so everybody gets an opportunity to. So we'll swap roles within, the small groups. So it is really looking at their ability and how they speak, how they verbalize, really.
And you get props, don't you? So if you're like the searcher, you get a prop, don't you?
So if you're searching, you probably like it better because you get a little microscope which you can use to like really have a look, and it's got a little light on it, and I think people need props because it helps them feel a little bit more empowered and a bit more playful and a bit more excited about the session.
Does the builder get a hat?
We have had hats before, and sometimes people would think this is a little bit patronizing. It just depends on personality. Some people would absolutely embrace it, and other people would say, not for me, thank you very much.
Have you had people with quite advanced dementia being able to take part in this and sort of getting something out of it?
Yeah, definitely. We've used this, so even if they can't verbalize and they're just using their hands and you're holding their hands, they're still involved. They've still got the sensory part of it, so they can feel the nodules on the bricks. They can still feel. It's like what I said before. It's what can they still do, not what they can't do. It's about doing that.
And obviously we're really interested in like the conversations and the connections. So there's an activity there, isn't there? The activity of building something together, and it's a meaningful activity. But then while they're doing that, you've got the connections and the conversations that are coming off, when people are not feeling like on the spot about being asked a question, they're quite immersed in an activity.
Yeah.
And there's a natural conversation, it seems, sort of going that's happening alongside that activity.
Yeah, so they don't. It's like anything. If you're knitting or if you're building something, or you don't feel that pressure, and they're just talking naturally. And the bricks, it might be something as simple as a lilac brick, and it's like, oh, I love lilac. Lilac's my favorite color. Do you like lilac? Oh, I love lilac. Oh, I remember when we used to have lilac flowers, and my nanny used to grow them in the garden. But my nana was a florist, and it's like, where does it lead to? It's conversation, and it can just go anywhere. And it is the social connections and the friendships are just amazing what can be created.
You three who hated one another.
Oh God, yeah.
Did you go back? Did they carry on working together on this, or was that sort of a one-off?
No, oh no, we did. It became a weekly process, yeah, and each time we were just building on the conversations and building. They almost wanted to go faster and would time each other. And it's like, can we time this? It's like, yeah, of course you can, yeah. But no, Raquel, who was the activities coordinator, she said when you'd left, they would still play with the bricks. They would still, that's the magic of it. I think half of it more than anything.
Definitely. So if people, it's sort of a activity, but our bricks, have you noticed that care homes have just got a brick building station now? So when it's not being led by a brick-based coordinator, what did you call them? Brick-based champion?
Yeah, like a Lego legend.
So when it's not being led by someone, is the Lego just freely available? Like, could I just go into the corner and get the Lego out, or is it very activity? It's on Friday morning, 10 o'clock. This is what we're doing.
Do you know what? I would say, depending on who it was who were wanting to access, because you've got to think of,
safety
with people with dementia. But I know that John Potts, who is a Lego legend, he would just go to his room on his own, or he would bring it out. So some of the homes I know have created, especially one in Wigan, where they created a cabinet and they glued the pieces together, and they would put it on and say who's made those. So they couldn't use it again because obviously they were glued. But yeah, I presume that they've got, a little mixture. I think it doesn't have to be so succinct. It doesn't have to be 10 o'clock on a Wednesday. It should be any time. Get the Lego out. Let's have a play.
You were sort of saying how it stimulates people, and we know, like, when people have been involved with singing or music, that's after the session, it sort of leaves people quite uplifted. Have you got that same sort of feedback from care home staff around that?
Yeah, definitely. It is like people have switched on just for that little time, and they seem happier in themselves. And obviously, people with dementia can get really stressed and agitated, and you can, doing something like using Lego therapy, you can really help them focus and hone in on one thing. And the stress, it's a stress reliever more than anything.
Well, that's interesting. And what about families?
Families love it. When we were working at a care home in Wigan, when they knew I was in on a Tuesday, Thursday, you would get families and aunties coming in so they could play. Can we play? And it was like, yeah. And there's about 8 of us, 9 of us around the table. Of course you can. But they just love it because it's like those light bulb moments going off within the loved ones. And it's like, yeah, I've got them back. Even if just having those lucid moments, and that they're feeling like themselves again, which is brilliant.
Definitely is, right. I feel like I'm hugging all the questions. So if you have a question for Kitty, drop it in the chat now, and then we'll pick it up from there. So brick-based brain community, is that how you refer to it? Is that's people who have been trained as
brick-based? Who've been trained, in brick-based brains. So the idea is we to have like a WhatsApp group and then maybe a LinkedIn group. So it's like any training program you've been on. I went on a Lego Serious Play one a couple of weeks ago, and now I didn't realize how supportive. In fact, Elrica, she's still there. Elrica with the top name. She was lovely, and everybody wants to help each other, and everybody's creative and they've got good ideas, and it's about evolving this community and thinking of ideas, because sometimes you can't see the wood for the trees, and it's like, oh, I never thought of that. Oh, what a good idea. And it's just about building. Bricks are for building, so let's build ideas upon the bricks more than anything.
Nice. And Enrica's still here, so she just gave us a big thumbs up.
Good,
so what's next for Brick-Based Brains?
So we are looking at getting it out more into the community and more into residential homes. And we've currently been doing some work with Driving Miss Daisy. I don't know if you know who they are, but Driving Miss Daisy is a company, and it's basically a taxi service, but for people with dementia. So they would take people into their appointments, but they wouldn't just drop them at the door. They'd make sure they go into that appointment, they'd stay and wait with them, and then bring them out. So they're interested in introducing brick-based brains within their setting, because they're set all over the country now, Driving Miss Daisy. And I also am a tutor of Makaton. So I've been teaching one of the ladies from the Salford-based Driving Miss Daisy, and she now uses Makaton, so the signing, and is helping people with dementia while she's driving around in the taxi. So we're going to incorporate more Makaton, so it's like a one-stop shop. Lego, Makaton, everything.
If someone's watching this or they're here with us today and they want to learn, they want to become a brick-based brain facilitator,
yeah,
what steps can they take? What can they do?
You can get in touch with me. I don't know if Emma, would you be passing emails on, because you'll have everybody's emails?
I can do, yes, of course.
Or connect with us on LinkedIn, which would be a good idea, and then we can go from there. And I will put posts out of when our next training programs will be, and also we do also in-house training, where you might want more than, say, 5 people who would want to join. Yeah, LinkedIn, emails, yeah, and I will put posts out to promote even more.
Are you out every day delivering this?
No, I currently work in a school 2 days a week, where I do lots of other things. So that's building confidence with children who are struggling socially, and that's working with secondary school students who I used to think would frighten me to death, but the banter is just amazing. I love it. And so the rest of the time, I'm going out to communities and delivering brick-based brains, and sharing the knowledge of what I've got, and making connections and meeting people more than anything, like yourself.
I know I just do these just so I can learn something. You've told me so much today, Kitty, so thank you so much for that. What you just said something. It feels like are you going more down the line of training people to do this, because you've sort of realized you can only get it to so big on, if you were just doing it. So the next step is training people to deliver this. Is that sort of in your business plan?
Yeah, that's definitely is, because obviously it can't spread and grow without training people. And I think the more people we train, I just want it to spread, like, from in the local areas, in the communities, in residential homes, then going as far afield, the UK, worldwide. When we first set this up, the amount of people who were interested from so many different countries, Australia, America, China, people who wanted to know more about what it was that we're creating this brick-based brains. And that's when I thought, no, I need to create a manual. I need to, create this community. So definitely going forward, it's not really the delivery of brick-based brains, but the delivery of my brain's just gone.
The training.
Of the training.
Are you delivering the training? Yeah, sharing the learning.
Yeah, delivering the training more than anything, yeah.
And Rick's just said, it could be worth discussing Makaton with Maggie Ellis. She may be using this already, of course. Yeah, thanks, Rick, definitely. So we work with Maggie Ellis up at the University of St Andrews. She delivers a course called Adaptive Interactions. That's for very end stage dementia. And so, yeah, Rick, I'll mention it to Maggie. There's definitely a connection there. Is anyone else doing this, Kitty? like, and obviously people are using Lego in lots of different ways, but is anyone else doing this specifically with people with dementia?
Yeah, there's a lady called Loretta Vini. I know Ulrika knows her as well, and she's been using this. And I actually I've been in touch with her since 2018, but she's been using it, but on a different kind of scale. She does it a lot of free play, and that's more with making intergenerational activities for people with dementia and young people. So she has been using it, but because it's so specific, mine's following the methods of Lego therapy itself, but nobody's really doing it performance based. So not only does it have Makaton, but it's got sing and sign in it. And also we use like a little bit of poetry and rapping. And that's only from trying things out and what people are interested in. And it's just amazing how you can make it so creative, because it's not just bricks, it's a whole different ball game.
I feel like I want you to share a Lego rap with us now.
Oh, you're putting me on the spot, aren't you?
Yeah, we can't see you. We can't see you though. So we only. You must have a favourite rap that you can remember, Kitty.
I can make one up. Oh my goodness me! Here we go. So we got blocks that are green, blue, and yellow. I'll tell you my name. It's Kitty, and it's mellow. And I tell you what, I don't play the cello, and I ain't no ordinary fellow. I think outside the box, and I think brick-based brains rocks.
Did you make that up now, or is that your normal rap?
No, I don't have a normal rap. Just made it up. Ask me on make one about sausages. I was Eminem in my past life.
Oh, I can tell. Honestly, I can tell. Right, how do you? So, there's a lot of love for that rap. How do you ensure? I'm thinking about your training. You're training people around this, and this is something that we face, with empowered conversations. How ensure the fidelity that people stick to model. So
yeah, usually after what we've done is go and visit people and watch them actually deliver a session themselves, so that we know that they're sticking to the right guidelines, and if they need any more help, is the questions that or stumbling blocks they've come up against that we can give them help with. And that's where the WhatsApp group or creating a community so they can ask questions and find out if there's anything they need to know. Music and Allegro, I love that.
That's Rick for you.
New Allegro, New Allegro.
Right, any more questions or comments that you want to make to Kitty? Now is your chance, because I've run out of questions. Kitty, have you got any? Are you still on the Empowered Conversations course?
I've just finished last week, which was brilliant. So it was really good to give a different insight around empowered conversations. And we watched a few videos, and it was like dissecting the videos. And it was a lady who had a husband, and you were filming it, Emma. Great filming.
Thank you. No, it's a professional filmer. It wasn't me. I was just chatting
was it?
In the
you
background.
were the chatter. All right. So it was just, it was really nice to dissect something and look at the joy of it, of the couples, but also how sad it can be as well. And just the different analogies he had about the bookcases and stuff, which was really interesting.
I was thinking, when you showed us that little video with Eunice and the flower, I was thinking about invitation to respond and how that would fit really nicely into your session. So inviting people into a conversation by looking at a brick and looking at the colour. So inviting that conversation. I just wondered that might work really well for some people.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because obviously John started responding to what she was saying. They were having a conversation, weren't they? So
They were definitely in conversation there. Right. Thank you so much, Kitty. Right. If there's no other questions, I'm going to bring this to an end. Kitty, thank you so much for your time today and for sharing your amazing work. It truly is inspirational, and I want to be a Lego facilitator with you, please. As you
yes,
can see, I've got previous, I'm very good at building, and Lego has been an important part of my life, all of my life. So is that enough credentials for getting me in on the training?
yes, you got to phase 1. I'll get you in phase 1. Of course you
All right,
can.
phase one.
Woo.
If you've enjoyed today's conversation about play and Lego, we are continuing it next week with Mary Fridley and a lady called Maxine, and we'll be exploring play, how to create playful environments for people with dementia and the importance of those. So it will be another creative webinar. So if you can join us, that would be fantastic. If not, enjoy your afternoon. And Kitty, thank you once again, and I shall see you all soon.
Thank you, Emma.